white, tiger-striped kitten came to live with me at Christmas time. She'd sit in the center of the floor, very demure and proper, and then shoo! She'd take off like a rocket. My son Dan named her Scat, and the name evolved into Scatty Cat. Now, my Christmas tree that year was a beautiful big Douglas fir, decorated with lights and antique glass balls that I had saved all these years until my sons were grown and it was safe to hang them. The lights shining on the glass made a beautiful sight inside and outside the house. I went to work as normal, and a repairman was at the house for some reason or other. And he came in and he said, "Why is your Christmas tree laying down?" I said, "It isn't." "Oh, yes, it is." I returned home to find the Douglas fir indeed prone and surrounded in a sea of shattered glass. You ever try to get shattered glass out of thick plush carpet? It's like Christmas tree needles. You find some months later. I looked and looked, and I couldn't find Scatty Cat. She was finally located under the center of my king bed, where she refused to come out for 2 days. Now, I'll never know exactly what happened. Did she try to climb the tree? Did she try to go through the tree to get to the bow bay window to sun herself? I'll never know. What I do know is Scatty lived with me for most of the next 20 years. Never in all those years did I ever see her go within 3 feet of a Christmas tree. There was a correlation between the reclining Douglas fir and my little furry friend. Now, figuring that Scatty was a kitty of the streets before she came to live with me, I thought perhaps she might be a hunter. So I hung the bird feeder nice and high from the edge of the roof, safely above the deck railing. One day I'm looking at a particularly full feeder with a beautiful array of birds. And I see this gray streak of fur fly off of the roof, catch a bird in her mouth in midair, land on the deck railing, jump down, and proudly march away with her prey. The bird feeder moved to the center of the yard the next day, safely away from flying fur and creative kitty minds. Some years later, I brought my 89-year-old mother to live with Scatty and I. Now, Mother was a very quiet, farm lady, not accustomed to animals in the house. I came home from work one day. She said, "Elaine, there's something wrong with your new home. There's this bumping, banging sound all day." "Where's Scatty Cat?" "You know, come to think of it, I haven't seen her all day." I started opening closet doors. When I opened Mom's closet door, whoosh! Out flew this gray streak of fur. Scatty raced across the floor, down the stairs, around the corner, to her litter box. Now, Mom was a very quiet lady, but she had one hobby. She loved her C melody saxophone. She had played it since she was a teenager. And at that point, she was good. Now, remember, she's 89 now. There have been a few changes. Her eyesight is gone, and I had to blow the music up, nice and large, so she could still see it and play, because she loved to play her saxophone. One One day I came home from work, and I had never heard my mother raise her voice in all these years. Until now. She had her hands on her hips and a disgusted look on her face. She said, "Your cat has no appreciation for talent." I get out the saxophone and she leaves. I could just see Scatty racing across the floor, hiding in a corner with her paws over her ears. This time, the fur had a right to fly.